Picture this, July 20th, 1944. Hours after German officers nearly blow Hitler to pieces at the Wolf's Lair, the Führer walks out virtually unscathed. While meeting with Mussolini that same day, Hitler's already plotting his revenge. What follows is one of the most brutal manhunts in World War II history, culminating in the savage execution of Germany's own spy master, Admiral Wilhelm Canaris, a man who secretly fought against the monster he once served. Before we dive into this dark chapter of history, hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell. We're Timeless World, bringing you the most gripping untold stories from history's shadows. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happened next. Drop a comment below telling us which historical figure we should cover next. Now, back to Canaris and his fatal decision to betray the Third Reich. The making of Germany's master spy. Wilhelm Franz Canaris entered the world on January 1st, 1887, in Abwehr, Germany, now part of Dortmund. Born into serious wealth, Wilhelm grew up in luxury most Germans could only dream about. His childhood home featured sprawling gardens, private tennis courts, and English housemates. The family carriage delivered him to school each morning. Despite this privilege, young Wilhelm displayed a peculiar personality, quiet, withdrawn, introspective. His classmates barely noticed him. While his father pushed him toward the German army, Wilhelm's heart belonged to the sea. When his father suffered a fatal stroke in September 1904, 17-year-old Wilhelm seized his chance, applying immediately to the Imperial Navy. By the time World War I erupted on July 28, 1914, he'd climbed to naval intelligence officer aboard the light cruiser Dresden. Canaris' linguistic gifts caught the attention of German Naval Command. Fluent in Spanish, proficient in English, conversational in French, and capable in Russian, he became invaluable for intelligence operations. The Navy dispatched him to Madrid with a critical mission: track enemy shipping movements and establish covert U-boat supply networks throughout the Mediterranean. When the Great War ended on November 11, 1918, Canaris commanded his own submarine, having sent 18 Allied vessels to the ocean floor. His Spanish operations earned him the Iron Cross First Class. The Nazi rise and a dangerous friendship. In 1919, Canaris married Erika Wog, daughter of another industrial magnate. They had 2 daughters together, but Canaris harbored a burning hatred for communists. During Germany's revolutionary chaos of 1918-1919, he actively organized Freikorps paramilitary squads to crush communist uprisings with extreme prejudice. June 1923 brought a fateful encounter. While serving as first officer on the cruiser Berlin, Canaris met naval cadet Reinhard Heydrich. Most Marines despise Heydrich for his arrogant, self-absorbed attitude, but Canaris saw something different. He befriended the outcast, inviting him home regularly. Heydrich played music with Erika while Canaris prepared meals. This friendship would later become one of history's strangest and deadliest rivalries. When Adolf Hitler became chancellor on January 30th, 1933, Canaris initially celebrated. The Nazis promised to rebuild Germany's military might and resurrect the Navy, goals the old sailor enthusiastically supported. By January 1935, Canaris commanded the Abwehr, Germany's military intelligence apparatus. Reinhard Heydrich, now leading the Reich Security Main Office, backed Canaris' appointment. They remained cordial competitors, though Canaris recognized Heydrich as a brutal fanatic. Heydrich's intelligence service constantly monitored Abwehr communications, while Heydrich himself called Canaris a wily old fox, warning subordinates never to underestimate him. The turning point. Canaris initially embraced much of Hitler's ideology: the Führer's nationalism, social Darwinism, opposition to the Versailles Treaty, vision for a greater Germany, and anti-Semitic views resonated with the admiral. Disturbingly, Canaris himself suggested using the Star of David to identify Jews in 1935-1936, marking them for isolation, forced relocation, and ultimately extermination. But everything changed in early 1938. Defense Minister Werner von Blomberg was forced out after marrying a former prostitute. Army Commander-in-Chief Werner von Fritz faced bogus homosexuality charges fabricated by the SS. Canaris and other officers worked frantically to prove Fritz's innocence, which they eventually did, but the damage was done. Hitler seized control as Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, consolidating absolute power. These forced resignations shattered Canaris' faith in Hitler. The admiral began his secret transformation from Nazi loyalist to silent saboteur. Austria and Czechoslovakia, the deception begins. In February 1938, weeks before Hitler annexed Austria and the Anschluss, Canaris orchestrated elaborate operations. The Abwehr created the illusion of massive German military preparations along the Austrian border. Austrian Chancellor Kurt Schuschnigg didn't budge, but German troops marched in anyway on March 13, 1938. Hitler's next target, Czechoslovakia. This sparked genuine alarm. Canaris joined a conspiracy of German Foreign Office officials and military leaders who feared another European war. They believed if Hitler invaded Czechoslovakia, Britain would declare war. Canaris sent Ewald von Kleist-Schmenzen to Britain as his secret emissary in 1938. Von Kleistschmenzen met Winston Churchill and other British politicians, attempting to shift their policy from appeasement to forceful opposition. Churchill agreed, sending Hitler a blistering letter warning that invading Czechoslovakia would trigger World War. Hitler read it but dismissed it since Churchill wasn't yet prime minister. The Munich Agreement of September 29-30, 1938 gave Hitler the Sudetenland without firing a shot. British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain returned home declaring, "Peace for our time." He was catastrophically wrong. War crimes and growing resistance. September 1, 1939 brought the German invasion of Poland and World War II's beginning. Canaris visited the front lines, witnessing Warsaw burning. Tears nearly fell as he reportedly said, "Our children's children will bear the blame for this." He witnessed SS Einsatzgruppen and death squads burn a Benzin synagogue with 200 Polish Jews trapped inside. Abwehr agents sent him reports of mass murders throughout Poland. On September 12, 1939, Canaris confronted Wilhelm Keitel, chief of the Armed Forces High Command, objecting to the atrocities, including systematic executions of Polish nobility and clergy. Keitel coldly informed him Hitler had personally ordered these measures and warned Canaris to drop his protests. Covert operations against the Reich. Canaris began regularly feeding intelligence to the Allies. He maintained a sexual relationship with Polish spy Helena Szymanska, based in Switzerland, who transmitted his information to Allied handlers. One critical piece, advance warning of Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union. October 1940 brought Canaris' most audacious sabotage. Hitler wanted Gibraltar captured, which would cut off British forces in North Africa. The plan, Operation Felix, required Spanish cooperation. Hitler assigned it to Canaris, the fluent Spanish speaker who knew dictator Francisco Franco personally. Canaris immediately undermined it. First, he wrote a comprehensive report explaining why Operation Felix couldn't succeed. Then he advised Franco that Hitler lacked resources to invade Spain if Franco refused cooperation. When Hitler met Franco at Hendaye Station on October 23, 1940, Franco was prepared. He told Franco Spain would remain neutral and denied access for German troops. Hitler bullied Franco for 9 hours, but finally surrendered. Days later, Hitler told Mussolini, "I prefer having 3 or 4 teeth pulled than speaking to that man again." This was catastrophic for Hitler. German control of Gibraltar could have allowed Rommel to defeat the British Eighth Army and capture the Suez Canal. Franco remained forever grateful to Canaris. After the war, Spain paid his widow a pension. Saving lives in secret. Canaris personally rescued numerous Jews and other victims from Nazi persecution. He provided them token Abwehr agent training, then issued papers allowing them to flee Germany. In May 1941 alone, he extracted 500 Dutch Jews to safety. He reportedly assisted Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Schnelson's September 1939 escape from Poland to America. But evidence of Canaris' double game accumulated. Henry Himmler, SS leader, pressured Hitler until he dismissed Canaris in February 1944, abolishing the Abwehr entirely. House arrest followed, though Canaris was released in June 1944 to head a specialized economic warfare unit. The July 20th plot. Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg and other officers concluded by early 1942 that removing Hitler was morally necessary. After Stalingrad's December 1942 disaster, despite religious convictions, Stauffenberg determined assassination was the lesser evil. July 20th, 1944, Stauffenberg put a bomb-loaded briefcase under Hitler's conference table at the Wolf's Lair. He couldn't arm the second bomb in time. After Stauffenberg departed, someone coincidentally moved the briefcase behind the table's heavy leg. The explosion failed to kill Hitler. Initially, conspirators didn't know Hitler survived. Stauffenberg returned to Berlin implementing Operation Valkyrie. The reserve army mobilized, but delays in confusion killed momentum. When Hitler's survival was broadcast, the coup collapsed catastrophically. Every Wehrmacht member was forced to re-swear loyalty oaths to Hitler by name. On July 24th, the traditional military salute was replaced throughout the armed forces with the Nazi salute and Hail Hitler greeting. Hitler ordered a massive manhunt, continuing for months. Arrest and torment. Gestapo arrested Canaris on July 23, 1944, based on interrogation of his Abwehr successor, Georg Hansen. Hansen confessed his plot involvement, but accused Canaris of being its spiritual instigator. No direct evidence emerged initially, but Canaris' associations with conspirators and subversive documents gradually sealed his fate. 2 suspected conspirators in his circle committed suicide, intensifying Gestapo investigations. Investigations dragged inconclusively until April 1945, when orders arrived to liquidate remaining plot prisoners. Canaris' personal diary was discovered and presented to Hitler in early April 1945, finally implicating him in conspiracy. The final horror. Gestapo confined Canaris in their Berlin cellars at Prince Albrechtstrasse, solitary confinement, chains. His cell door remained permanently open with lights burning continuously day and night. He received 1/3 normal rations. As winter descended, his starving body suffered horribly from cold. SS guards forced him to scrub prison floors while mocking him. February 7, 1945, Canaris was transferred to Flossenburg concentration camp. Guards routinely slapped his face. For months, he baffled SS interrogators with clever misdirection, denying all conspiracy involvement. He never betrayed fellow resistance members. Danish Colonel Hans Lunding, former Danish military intelligence director in prison next door, received Canaris's final message through wall tapping. "This is the end. Badly mishandled. My nose broken. I have done nothing against Germany. If you survive, please tell my wife." The execution. Gray morning hours, April 9, 1945. Just 30 days before war's end in Europe, hastily erected gallows stood in Flossenburg's courtyard. 58-year-old Canaris was ordered to strip naked. After kneeling one final time to pray, Hitler's direct orders condemned him to hanging with a meat hook and thin hemp rope, piano wire. This barbaric execution method could prolong death agony for 20 agonizing minutes. After death, Canaris's corpse was left rotting before cremation. His ashes were scattered. Before execution, Canaris declared, "I die for my fatherland. I have a clear conscience. I only did my duty to my country when I tried to oppose the criminal folly of Hitler." Wilhelm Canaris, who despised the Nazi system and sabotaged Hitler's plans at every opportunity, paid for his resistance with his life. The legacy. Canaris remains one of history's most complex figures. He helped implement early Nazi persecution, then worked tirelessly to undermine the regime from within. He saved hundreds of lives while serving a genocidal government. He was both collaborator and saboteur, patriot and traitor, depending on perspective. His story proves that redemption is possible, even for those who initially support evil, but it also demonstrates the terrible price of resistance. Canaris could have stayed quiet, maintained his position, survived the war. Instead, he chose conscience over comfort, principle over preservation. History remembers him not for his early Nazi collaboration, but for his courageous transformation and ultimate sacrifice. That's the shocking true story of Wilhelm Canaris, the Nazi admiral who became Hitler's secret enemy. If this blew your mind, smash that like button right now. Subscribe to Timeless World for more incredible untold stories from history's darkest corners. Hit the bell so you never miss an upload. Comment below with your thoughts on Canaris. Hero, traitor, both? Let's discuss. Share this video with anyone who loves World War II history. We'll see you in the next episode where we uncover another buried chapter of history that deserves to be told. Until then, stay curious, stay questioning, and remember, history isn't always what they taught you in school.